Today we are doing a final room tour after moving to Montana. If you're new here, I used to live in Montana because I was born and raised here, and then I moved to North Carolina for a year, and now I'm back in Montana. And this is actually a room in my parents' house, and I'll let you guys know what I've added to the room versus what was here before. This is a full room. I feel like it actually turned out really cute. I'll give you guys the little details in a second. I feel like the biggest things you can see right now is obviously the bed, the closet, which has these double mirrors on the front, which is so nice. I feel like I love using this one when the closet is open, so I can like really step back and see my outfit. Welcome to the first part of the room. I feel like the biggest thing in the room in general is just the bed. Obviously, I showed you the bed already, but here's another angle just in case you wanted it. Obviously, from this angle of the room, you can also see the blue walls. At first, I thought they were going to be too dark, but because of how bright these windows are, I feel like it doesn't really matter. We got our TV on the left here. It doesn't stick out very far, so even if I'm walking, I'm not going to like hit myself. On this wall, we have this really adorable horse painting. At first, I was like, why is there a horse in the room? And then now I kind of love it because I feel like this gives very like Montana, very Western. And then it combines really well with the beach painting I have, which I feel like are two of my kind of favorite things. I like the mountains, I like the beach. I like both, so I'm glad that they're kind of like both represented in this room in a certain way. I would show you the floor, except there's not really much to it. I have a box fan down here because obviously it's getting a little warmer. I have a trash because that's necessary for a room. On the bottom part of this bed is a bunch of blankets. I feel like they all just fold so nicely under the bed. Sometimes I will put one on top to just like lay, but I kind of like the cleanliness of the bed, just having kind of like just the comforter and just the pillows. I also am really bad about styling a bed. That's why I would go with something simple like that, but then I feel like they also fold up so nicely under the bed here that I don't have to worry. The best part of any room for me is the closets. As you can tell, they have the double mirrors on the outside. Now, if this wasn't enough, you could also open it up and have the mirrors on the inside. So there's a mirror on this side, and then this is the only mirror on the inside of the closet that is blocked, and that is due to the fact that I'm using this little like over the door glass hanger. This is one of my favorite purchases ever. One, it holds all of my sunglasses. I need to start wearing them more just to make sure that this is really of use, but I also put my everyday normal glasses in here. So I feel like this is actually something I use on a daily basis. And it's really nice because both can just fit in this one little panel. And honestly, if I ever needed more, I have a whole nother door because then I can just get dressed on the outside of the door. What I like about having at least one of the mirrors open in the inside is that if I'm like getting dressed and I don't want to like close one half of the door, I still have a mirror to like see what the outfit is looking like before I close my closet doors essentially. And I don't need another mirror because I already have some. Over here I've got hanging. This is like the only hanging spot in the closet. So I have most of like my jackets, things that I want hung like this, or any of my blazers. Sometimes I have little things like this little top is just so silky, so smooth. It's gonna slide right out of this folding pile on the left side here. So that's why it's hanging up. I do have a couple of sweaters hanging up because apparently I have a sweater problem and I don't have enough space for my sweaters in one spot. They're kind of scattered throughout, and that's my own issue. Under the little hanging area here, we have some sweaters, as I said. That's sweater pile number one. Then under the sweaters, we have pants. And then under all of my pants, I have the actual sweater location. That's where I originally put my sweaters, and then they didn't all fit there. Hence why the overflow went somewhere else. On the bottom here, I have most of my boots. I feel like the only boots that aren't in this section are my like hunter boots and my snow boots, and those are in the mudroom of the house. But most of my other boots are down in that section. And then I have this little ladder here, obviously because I'm short, and there's this tall section way up here in the closet that I can't reach without my stool. So I have a little foldable one so that it doesn't take up that much space, but I also can use it if I need it. Speaking of the top, we have like our workout pants, or our comfy pants, I would say, like our loungewear pants. And then we have our sweatshirts, just kind of like the ones that are not like a sweater material, but they are just more of a casual everyday throw on maybe when you're running an errand, maybe if you're like working out, that kind of thing up there. This was the only shelf that these bins would fit because we used to have a lot of these bins back in North Carolina and they were the most helpful thing in a closet. I 10 out of 10 recommend them. I think they're just so easy to throw things in and they don't really truly have to be organized, but then like they're not falling out of the piles, which I like. Onto this next shelf, we have dresses. So I have my overalls over here. I have most of my dresses. The only dresses I didn't put in this pile are like my fancy, maybe it's like a wedding dress, like not my actual wedding dress, but dresses I would wear as a wedding guest. Those are hanging up in a portion of Mitchell's closet because he has more hanging space. This next shelf here is kind of just a hodgepodge of different shirts. Honestly, I will probably arrange them to be turtlenecks in one pile, and then like this pile is kind of being my like looser like springy tops right now, and then this is kind of just like basic tops right now. I don't really know if that's how it's gonna stay. I've also been having a change up, I feel like, in my style a little bit, in the sense of I used to be so obsessed with turtlenecks. I thought turtlenecks were like so awesome. Not that they aren't good, I just feel like these days I'm being a little more like I don't want anything like touching my neck type of situation. I'm not sure if it's just because it's spring and I'm wanting to wear more like lighter clothing that I really don't want a turtleneck, or if it's because I have finally exited my turtleneck stage and I just don't want things touching my neck anymore. I am gonna keep all my turtlenecks for now because it's not winter, so I'm like maybe winter will roll around again and I'll be like, I want a turtleneck. Who knows really, but I think for future shopping currently, or future thrifting really, is I'll probably aim for things that just are a little more of a round neck, or even possibly, I'm not usually a fan of V-neck, but maybe, so that I can find different things with different cuts and different styles that are not turtlenecks. But that's pretty much what's kind of like here, is all sorts of different tops. On the next shelf here, we have just like vests. So I have like 4 random vests just sitting there, mainly because not everything can be hung. So I had to pick and choose, like I have 2 other vests that are a little more bulky, so those ones got to be hung versus these ones aren't as bulky, so they had to be folded. I really do think that is how I organize most of this closet, is if it was like super bulky and it wouldn't fold well, it kind of had to be hung up versus a shirt that can easily be folded. For this next little pile over, we have one random white sweater. On top of the random white sweater is just some of my like fancier tank tops, like ones I feel like I'd wear to work almost, or are a little more stylized, I guess, compared to like these ones are just tank tops to throw under. And then this pile down here is just workout tanks. So I feel like there's a difference in the tanks of like under stuff. Workout would pair more as its own tank. This little pile right here is just more of like workout pullovers. They're not as thick as like a sweatshirt, but they're a little more lightweight. They're definitely a little thinner, but they're still really good for working out. The last shelf that you can see is shorts, which I actually pulled out a pair today because it's actually warm enough for shorts, and it's like March in Montana. That's like unheard of, and I'm just gonna take it as it is because can't complain when there's good weather. So those are shorts, and there's actually shorts behind the other shorts because there's like, it's deeper in that one section of the shelf other than these ones. Obviously we have our workout tops, and then the next pile over is just workout shorts. The space on this floor was a little harder to kind of work with. I ended up going with mostly bins on this bottom part, but because there was a couple of spaces that are just kind of a little more random, I put some shoes in it because I was running out of places to put things. And I feel like for some reason things do feel organized even though things are not all together. So I feel like the shoes that I chose to put in here make the most sense, which are just my clogs, and then like my little like flip-flops, I would say, are the easiest thing to put in here. In 2 of these bins we have hats, kind of like bucket hats, like more of a baseball hat, knitted hat, but things like that, winter gear. I do also have a whole nother section of where my like scarves are because they didn't fit into these bins, but I feel like those are most of like pretty much hats and gloves. Another bin I have down here is cold weather gear. So this is kind of any of the cold weather gear I wear under stuff in winter. I get cold really easily, and so I do love a good underlayer in the winter to keep me warm, and so those are most of the things in that bin. The last 2 bins on the bottom there are going to be skirts. I feel like I had my skirts hung up originally, but they were definitely too many to be hung up. I was running out of space to hang in that closet, so I had to figure out what I could fold. My dresses were going to be hung up, but again, they had to be on the cut list because they could fold easily. I thought it was perfect to put in the bins. And actually I have long skirts all in one bin, and it looks kind of full and then my shorter skirts are not as full. So I might mix and match them eventually. The one problem I'm possibly foreseeing with the closet is because so many things are like folded and possibly like hidden away, especially the stuff on the bottom there, I'm scared I'm gonna forget I have something and possibly repurchase something I already have. So I think I'm gonna have to be really intentional about actually looking and moving my items so that I know that I'm using everything in my closet. I feel like when I was just hung before, it was all right in front of me and I could see exactly what I was and wasn't using. I feel like the skirts are my biggest worry because they're so tucked away that I'm gonna forget what skirts I have. I really do want to wear more skirts this spring and summer. I feel like in spring or summer, because there's AC in the office, I always am like, oh, I can just wear pants because it's cold, and I use it as an excuse. And I feel like this summer I want to actually kind of have like a spring and summer work wardrobe. I have very spring items that would be appropriate for work. So it's not even that I don't have spring/summer work clothes. I do. I just need to actually wear them and stop convincing myself that it's too cold in the office, even if the AC is on, to wear the summer and spring items. This is my side of the bed. So most of the things over here are things I use, obviously, like my camera batteries. I have this little like triangle corner stand here, which has a couple of different things on it. I do have tissues in the back here just in case. I feel like maybe you get a bloody nose, you get the sniffles, something. Not that you should, or allergies, I guess, in spring or summer. So there are options. Currently, the one pair of sunglasses I have out are my Coach ones. These ones are like so stunning. One, I always forget to wear these ones, but the case is too big that I don't want to put them in there. So this gets its own little special spot on the shelf here. As you can see, there is a little extended shelf in the room, which has been so handy because we don't really have side tables. So I do have 3 cup holders back here for any drinks I bring into the room, which is super nice at night to put like my water bottle, maybe a tea, something else if I have anything else. Then I have a couple of cup holders there because I don't want to ruin the wood. Over on this little corner stand, I do have some random things in this little bin. This is kind of my throwaway bin. Currently, it is my wallet, which doesn't really have anything in it because I put it all in my work bag, but it's just sitting out. My passport, I actually do need to put this back into my safe because I don't know why it's out. Actually, is this even my passport? Oh, I know why it's out, because I tried to go to the DMV and I didn't have the paperwork. So that's why it's out. I have a little hair clip in here, and then I also have a chip clip because I just took this chip clip off of an old bag of chips. So I thought I'd keep it down here in case I open something and I need to chip clip it. I'm just going to pull everything off of the shelves because there's not very much on the shelf itself, but I'll give you a little tour of what the shelf looks like. But I think it's easier to show you like up close what is on the shelves themselves. Yeah, if you saw Vlogmas, you would have seen this little coloring book. I have liked it so far, but when I was originally shopping for coloring books, I was looking for one like this. But I saw this at Barnes & Noble yesterday when I went to go pick up a new version of Catan because we got the expansion pack, which also, that game is so fun. If you haven't played it, play it. It's super fun to play with. Definitely a large group of people. Well, 5 to 6 people. We had 5 people, so it worked out really well. I was already at Barnes & Noble and I saw this, so I definitely picked it up. I felt like this one looked so, like, springy. I can't wait to color this page. I feel like that's so cute. Oh, I just, like, these type of things just get me. They're so cute. Like, this is one of those activities I absolutely love, and I feel like it's not for everybody, but it is definitely an activity for me. I like coloring also because it's something you could do outside, but also you don't require a screen. Like, if I wanted to do this at night while I maybe watched a movie, I could, but if I also just wanted to do something like off a screen, I also could do that. But I thought this one looked so cute for spring/summer. I feel like I also just loop like spring and summer together as like activities, and then winter and fall sometimes as activities. The one thing I have to say about these markers is that when you use this fine point side, it can get the like page to get a little like pilly, if you will. I tend to use this side because it doesn't really pill. The only issue is that this color is technically different from this color. So, I mean, I still like the kit, but we'll see what we end up coloring with. I don't know if I'll find like another favorite, but I'm going to use this one until it like goes out. The last 2 things we have on the shelf are a notebook I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. And then my computer. So that's kind of what's the last little thing on my shelf. There is another like shelf in this part of the bed that I end up putting my like switch, and I end up putting my extra camera supplies in there. So I think that's it for my side of the bed. Can't believe I forgot that the painting is also on this side of the room. So this is the other painting, which is a beach painting. I had it in my previous office in North Carolina, and I actually decided to bring it to this room because I feel like it would fit perfectly with like the blues of the wall. And honestly, I feel like it does, and I really love that painting. So I'm glad I ended up bringing it with us and not putting it in storage. This is the last angle of the room, which is Mitchell's side of the bed. There's really not much to say about this side because this is his space. In this little corner here, we have our little Highland cow jelly cat. His name's Biggie. That is the room tour. I'm sure I will show you the other room, but this is the main bedroom, so I feel like this is the one that deserves the tour the most. The other bedroom really is just going to serve as Mitchell's office. It does have a bed in there, and there is a closet in there. Most of the stuff in that closet is Mitchell's closet, but there is a dresser that has like my swimsuits, my pajamas, my socks, and then also has my purses, my jewelry, and then my like some of my longer hanging coats and my fancier clothing. So there is some stuff in there, but I feel like this is the main room and this is the main tour. So I hope you guys love the little room tour. If you have any ideas on how to better organize a closet when you're folding clothes, mostly folding all of your clothes, let me know because I'm always up to hearing more organization tips. I love to organize, and I'm sure the closet will honestly change multiple times while I'm here. I'm sure I will just get like an inkling and want to switch everything up that is in there. I feel like especially when new seasons roll around, I love to switch up things. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.